But I know you have a good sex life. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you. And we bonded around that the first time. And I love your mindset, which is I want my sex life to keep getting better because I've been married to my husband for 34 years. I'm 64 now. I'm having the absolute best sex of my life. As a matter of fact, he was just taking a shower in the bathroom when I was getting ready to be on your show. And I said, hey, can we have a date later? And he's like, yeah, you bet. It means let's have sex, but it doesn't mean let's have intercourse. It means let's land on the bed. You help me get out of my head and into my body. You calm my nervous system. You lay me down. If I've got something I have to get off my chest, I tell you. You listen and don't try to fix it. You put your hands on me and relax me. You hold me if I need holding. You give me a Yoni massage. And I'm going to stop there for a second and say what that is. Yoni, Yoni. My favorite four-letter word is it's a tantric lovemaking word for the female urogenital system. And the reason that I like it, I do a lot of vocab correction when I talk.
You
giving
give us
women
the words that we're missing. This is what I like.
I try to, exactly. And one of the things I like about Yoni, and I prefer it to things like kitty or flower or pussy or vagina or vulva. I feel like some of them are too soft for how powerful it is. Some of them are too crass for the average person. The others are medical, and the vagina is just the inside. The vulva is just the outside.
All right. It is a real pleasure to have again Susan Bratton. Welcome to the show.
Laura, it's so nice to see you. You're looking as beautiful as always. And I have been looking forward to our conversation because personally, I do about 100 podcasts a year. I have a lot to say, Zora, as you know, because I've been on your show before. And it's the one place where we can have truly honest, uncensored conversations in a very censored internet world today. Yeah. And I have always appreciated the level of intelligence and worldliness and wisdom and heart and beauty that you bring, and how much of a champion you are for your listeners. I mean, it really shines through, my friend. So I just dig you so much. And I am really looking forward to meeting you in person. You're still in Barcelona?
Today I'm in Portugal. And tomo arigato gozaimasu. That was a beautiful, that was so nice of you to say those words. I'm just touched.
You're so easy to love. Are you kidding me?
You too.
You really are.
See each other, give each other a big hug. And you are not far from me. I'm in Portugal now and you are in Germany. So it may just happen that
it's going to happen. Yeah, because I was thinking about coming down to the Aerospain show later this year. And I was hoping you were going to be in Barca then because I would finally get to meet you. Literally, it's one of the reasons I want to go to the show. So I'll have to get your living schedule so I can work it into my plans.
I will give it to you. In a few days, I'll be in Spain. So getting closer. I'm so excited to have you on again because our first episode did so well. And that was one of the very first episodes I did about sex and libido and arousal. Yeah. And I was just in my circle, nobody's talking about it. And I'm like, why aren't my friends, close friends? I'm like, why isn't anybody just talking about it? So now I have
they're so disappointed. Right?
Hiding it, or they just don't want to share that their sex lives are not so great. Right. I'm looking for tips and what can I do? I've been married for over 30 years. And so I want it to be the best sex years of my life. Good. And this is when I found you. I was like, okay, we got somebody who's going to be my sex coach and tell me.
It's cute too, because your husband is hot. I've seen the pictures and not all the pictures, but I've seen.
Don't share those.
But I know you have a good sex life. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you. And we bonded around that the first time. And I love your mindset, which is I want my sex life to keep getting better because I've been married to my husband for 34 years and I'm 64 now. And I'm having the absolute best sex of my life. As a matter of fact, he was just taking a shower in the bathroom when I was getting ready to be on your show. And I said, hey, can we have a date later? And he's like, yeah, you bet. I'm literally asking, we call it a date. It means let's have sex, but it doesn't mean let's have intercourse. It means let's land on the bed. You help me get out of my head and into my body. You calm my nervous system. You lay me down. If I've got something I have to get off my chest, I tell you. You listen and don't try to fix it. You put your hands on me and relax me. You hold me if I need holding. You give me a Yoni massage. And I'm going to stop there for a second and say what that is. Yoni, Yoni. My favorite four-letter word is it's a tantric lovemaking word for the female urogenital system. And the reason that I like it, I do a lot of vocab correction when I talk,
You give
giving
us the
women.
words that we're missing. This is what I
I
like.
try to, exactly. And one of the things I like about Yoni, and I prefer it to things like kitty or flower or pussy or vagina or vulva, is that I feel like some of them are too soft for how powerful it is. Some of them are too crass for the average person. The others are medical, and the vagina is just the inside, the vulva is just the outside, and it really doesn't take into account the most important part of our entire genital structures, which is the pleasure and connection to our power and to our partner that we can create with it and to ourselves. And so yoni is tantric lovemaking word, Sanskrit for the portal. And I really just like that word. And so I like to teach it to people. So he gives me a yoni massage. He's very patient. He's not needy. He allows me whatever time it takes to get out of my head and get into my body. And I'm no different than any other woman. We're all estrogen dominant, and we need calming when we are with our partner. And if it's like we're definitely going to have intercourse, and I don't always feel like intercourse, I want different things. And if I can't decide what my body wants in the moment, I'm not interested in even getting on that bed. And sometimes I have to be very patient with myself and just wait for my body to let go into pleasure. And sometimes she takes a long time. She's a stubborn little donkey, that yoni of mine, just like all women's yonis. And I just sometimes even have to say to myself, just give yourself time. Just, you're fine. He's fine. He's happy. He's stroking you. He's pleasuring you. He's engorging your genital structures. This is how my brain talks to myself, and get yourself back in your body, let it go. And slowly but surely, I start to let down. My spit runs, my eyes might water. He'll play with my breasts and my nipples, and I'll start calming down a little. He hasn't even touched my clitoris. He hasn't even put his fingers inside me. He is stroking me like a kitty. He's got warm oil on his hands. The light's nice. The music's on. He's in no hurry. He will be there as long as it takes. And if, on the rare occasion, I just need to go to bed, he tucks me in and he pulls the covers up over my shoulder, just like I like, and kisses me on the cheek and goes in the other room to snore.
Teach him how to do this. Like, you trained this guy.
You know how many men I've trained to do this? And not all in person, obviously, but this is what I do is I teach people how to give incredible yoni massages, how to know what you want and ask for it, how to get out of the paradigm of foreplay and intercourse, that sex isn't intercourse, how to have orgasmic intercourse, what the vagina wants from the penis, not what the penis wants from the vagina, which is all we've ever seen. Good oral pleasuring skills, breast and nipple pleasuring, good kissing skills. I mean, these are the things that you have to learn for your sex life to keep getting better. And because almost everything we've seen is through the male gaze, what I'm out here doing is leveling that playing field and telling everyone what women like. And honestly, we have a wide variety of people who like things harder, softer, whatever, but we have an operating system. And it pretty much works the way it works in the human body. And it's worked that way for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years now. You do the right inputs, you get the right outputs. Any woman who thinks they can't orgasm or who can't orgasm from intercourse, oh, I just can't, you can if you just know what to do. That's the beautiful thing about sex is if you learn the techniques, they work like a charm.
Okay, so you were like my girlfriend that I can talk to about these
Anything.
things. And it's just you and me here. And whoever's listening right now, just you, the three of us. Okay.
Yes.
Having a little chat. We're having a little chat together. And this is the conversations that I always wish I had when I was going through perimenopause and what's going on after 20 years or 15 years of marriage. You're like, what? Is it just going to be the same thing over and over again? And I like that you've described I have a real visual of what it could be like to get into this state. And this is what I think is really different than sometimes the image that we have is like, oh, he wants to have sex. Let's get in the bed and grind, and let's get it over with. That at all. And I learned a lot from you. And then since I've had many other experts come on talking about sex and libido, arousal. It's been fascinating because I had no idea that there's a can of worms for every different problem and everyone's got some situation going on. But I have that's very similar to you. We have our little code word. I say, do you want to go play?
Yeah, good. I like that.
Play. And that's my little cue word. I need to relax. And the same thing. It's not going to be like, I need time. I think like most of us, maybe some people.
We do. We all need time.
Are faster than others, but and he gives me the massage. He loves feet. I think he has a foot fetish.
Nice.
Massages my feet and I love it. He doesn't care to have, so I'm like, okay, I'll give you a massage. And he's like, no, I don't need it. But he gives the best massages and gives me that time. And I've slowly over the years since you have been training with some of the information that you've given me, little bits and pieces here. There's one mistake I made, and I think maybe I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. And this is all public from all my other episodes. I took a course, a video online course, and it was just like how to spice up the sex life, but kind of more instructional. Okay, now we can move the hips a little bit. It's a little bit like a dance, and the guy should maybe doing this. And it was really practical. And I was like, oh, this is great. And the point was, we don't want this drill going in. Like women want to have a little bit, and you can move the penis around a little bit, different sides, different angles, and try to find it. It was really great. I thought it was cool. So when I first started the program, it was like called 9 Naughty Nights or something. It was like 9 steps. And
what's that BB's program?
Whose?
BB Burrows.
No, Saida Desilets.
Desilets. Yeah, Saida Desilets. Yeah,
partner Aaron. So they're all clothed. It's nothing. It's just giving some instruction that I never had. And I don't see this on porn. Like, I think that was really practical. So I said, okay, honey, we've been doing it wrong. We have to learn how to do sex. I had no idea we were doing it only this way. And he was like, all right, listen to me. And he was like, put on the video. I'm all excited. And after it, he was just kind of like, nah, I don't think I need to watch anymore. And so I go to Saeed and I said,
disappointing.
It kind of flopped. What do you think? And she said, basically what he's hearing is that you're not really good in bed anymore and you need to learn something. Like his ego took a little hit. I felt really bad. I didn't realize that he may feel like that. I was no intention, but I don't put myself in a man's head. I'm thinking, oh, he just wants to do it all the time. And like, it didn't occur to me. But since then I learned it. And she's like, well, you can go through the videos and instruction. But from that first video, he has got the message too, that there's different techniques and you can move around. It's not going to be the same thing that we've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I know. It's nuts how you have to make guys think that everything is their idea or they get butthurt. Like they say women are emotional. Men are too. And they grow up in a pecking order. And this is the work of Dr. Terry Real, where men are either winning or losing. And when you tell them something, if they think you're telling them what to do, they resist. And if you tell them something and they take it as, oh, I'm doing a bad job, I'm a loser. That's where they go with it. So How do you tell a guy that you want him to do something different? The best way is through like the love sandwich kind of thing, which is I love when you and I have intercourse, and I love how well you can articulate your penis inside my vagina. And I was wondering, what ideas do you have for exploring more of the spaces all the way around my vagina? Like less, what would you do if you did less just straight in and out kind of friction? Like, how could you use your penis so that instead of stimulating the, you could use whatever word you want. I would say vaginal mucosal lining. The
Trying to make
skin
me wet.
inside my kitty. How could you, like, how when I give you a massage or when you rub my feet and you don't just rub the skin, but you rub the meat of my foot? Like, how could you use your penis to stimulate and activate all the tissue on the other side of my vagina, 360 degrees inside that cavern? I'd like to just practice that and feel your penis in different spots all around inside my vagina and different speeds and tempos. Could we play around with that? Make it up. You know what you're doing. This is what they love to hear. My husband is literally sitting here working in the room I'm in our Airbnb in Freiburg am Breisgau. And he's hearing me say all this stuff, and it doesn't even faze him because he knows. And he knows I know. And I still do that stuff with him too, because it just makes it easier for them.
It's easier to digest. I do think that some women may not have to even get that far is a struggle. And one thing I did, you'd be so proud of me, in my community, we have a biohacking menopause community, and every month we have a 14-day challenge. So one of them was a sex challenge, sex and intimacy. And it was all levels. Like sometimes it's just get used to touching yourself, like forget about another person. And sometimes it was like, go as far as you want. And I started it out with your sex bucket list.
Good.
And that was a really good thing to start with. I did it with my husband after our interview, and I remembered it. And I was like, oh, I remember we went through this list, and I think it could be helpful for couples who are trying to start that conversation. And it was funny because even though I forgot half of it, and then my husband didn't remember as well. And we were going through, we're having a good laugh because we're like, would you do anal sex? And he's like, no. I was like, okay, no. Would you do this? Or it's a bucket list where you'd say things that yes, no, and maybe. And you have that conversation, and that conversation continued the next day and the day after. I was like, remember you said, and it was like an icebreaker in many ways. And for me, it was like, I want to explore the things. And you were talking about things that I had never heard of. I was like, oh my God, what in the world?
There's a lot of stuff. I know.
Google this. But I think your bucket list, which I'll have a link to that in the show notes where they can go and get it. And I think it's a real
sexlifebucketlist.com.
Sex life.
Just to say it. Sexlifebucketlist.com. Yeah. Comes with a video. I walk you through all of the 48 erotic play dates, tell you what they are.
Yes.
It's like you said, you're like, I didn't even know what some of those things were. And
oh yeah, you did have links. I remember going to some.
Yeah. So you can find them. Yeah. So you can find the stuff and read more about it and get free reports and things like that. Yeah. But A, B, and C. Yeah, I do have a lot. I've written 34 books and programs and published 10 books and programs of my mentors. I carry on a few lineages as well, like the expanded orgasm practice, which is essentially the Yoni massage that my husband gives me. It includes a clitoral stroking technique that allows you as a woman to go into an expanded orgasm state. We have the ability to orgasm for hours. And we can come in many different ways. There's over 20 kinds of orgasms. There's locations to touch, like the clitoris, the nipples, the throat is orgasmic, all of these things. And then there's the techniques like expanded orgasm, female ejaculation, multi-orgasmic male orgasms, full body orgasms for men, erotic hypnosis, an interesting one. Come on command. I mean, that's really cool. Whoa. I can't get hypnotized. I've never had anybody who could hypnotize me and make me come. Darn it. It's one of the ones I haven't gotten to yet, but I'd like to.
That
and
if
then
you find
objects
it,
of
tell me, because
desire.
that sounds interesting. Like that's
Doesn't it?
crazy.
I know.
Hypnotizing. Are you, but you're, but then are you conscious because you want to
Yeah,
enjoy it,
yeah.
right?
You can snap out of it. You can remember it, and you can be snapped out of it at any time by the hypnotist. And of course, you don't want to work with an ethical hypnotist in that
Yeah.
vein, of course. Oh my God. We really got to watch out for these guys these days. And now that we know how heinous they all are, not all of them, at the same time, being in love with our partners in more than we ever have, it's just like a lot to hold. There's such a dichotomy of lived experience as a woman right now in our collective cultures.
Yeah. I remember last time we talked, you were one of the first people to who spoke about a woman needing to feel safe.
Yeah.
Because we're under this pressure, and I've had this for years, thinking, oh my God, I gotta like orgasm fast, and my husband's
Hmm.
much faster than me. And you have this pressure, and then that makes it harder. And you were giving me permission to say, no, your body just needs to take time and it needs to feel safe. And if you
Hmm.
remember, I mentioned Dr. Sarah Gottfried. I remember reading an article years ago where she was saying we're genetically programmed, like if our DNA is on
Hmm.
high alert from
Yeah.
men, even like you said that you love your husband or partner or
Yes.
whoever it is, like you feel safe, but
Hmm.
your body still needs that time. And I found that fascinating. And it did take off pressure from me, just
Good.
knowing that and going, telling my husband, look, I'm just going to take my time. And the thoughts in your head, like when you think, like when you're going through this, the motions, and I've interviewed psychoanalysts who talk about arousal. And sometimes I had no idea there can be really crazy fantasies that happen in the head
Hmm.
that are totally uncontrollable too, but it turns you on. So your
Hmm.
brain goes there as a workaround, but then some people are horrified. Like they would never do these things or have these things in real life, but it's
Yeah.
something, it's the brain. I found it fascinating, but it is true. We all have these thoughts, and my brain too goes in. Sometimes it goes to fantasy to get arousal. And sometimes I'm like, no, just be in my body. Let her just ready
Let her
whenever
take
she
her
wants
time.
to. Then other times I'm trying to really focus on sensation, and that it's, oh God, it's all over the place. Like, why, like, what is like the best way to, I don't know if this is right or wrong, or should I be just like a meditation, just let it go? What are some of the techniques that you think actually work? Because it does work when I have a fantasy and then I get aroused. Or
Mhm.
or you look at porn, or you look at some people are visual, whatever. What what's going on?
Yeah. Another thing that I find really helpful, and I think it can help a lot of people, is I have we have a little game that we have been doing for decades. That is tell me three things you love about me. I need a lot of verbal calming and appreciation. And a lot of times when I lay down with Tim and he starts to give me a yoni massage, which is pretty much how we start every date, because when our play, when because it helps me get out of my head and into my body and settle and allow my arousal to rise, and it gives me that 20 minutes or 30 minutes depending on the day that I need to get my genital structures full of blood flow. And we women all have the same amount of erectile tissue in our yoni as our male body partners do in their lingam. That's the word for penis in Tantra, lingam, which I like as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty word. They have very fast acting hemodynamics. They're testosterone dominant. They wake up with morning erections. They've got nighttime erections. They think they're very visual. They think about sex a lot. They see boobs, they get turned on. And we just don't have those advantages, but we have some really good advantages. And one of them is that even if we are able to get 20 to 30 minutes of pleasure and stimulation, and that blood can come down into our pelvic bowl and seep through our vaginal mucosal lining and into the clitoral, urethral, and paraurethral structures, which are our three erectile tissue chambers, then they plump up and they have more surface area. And then that can send more signals to our brain of pleasure. Because your brain is your biggest sex organ, not because of fantasies that you have, but because it processes it. You have the somatosensory cortex that processes what you're feeling in your body, your proprioception. And if you're flaccid, if your genitals are flaccid, you don't have your lady boner. Sometimes I call it the yoner, like a yoni boner. If you don't have your yoner, then you are flaccid and sex will never feel any kind of pleasure. I don't mean intercourse. I mean sex as in all the things will never feel as good to you. And what happens in that kind of old patriarchal paradigm where sex is for procreation and sex means intercourse and that's what we're supposed to do. And we don't have any sexual literacy. We don't have any pleasure-based education. We don't understand female genitals. I still speak to rooms of hundreds and hundreds of women at conferences, like I do the perimenopause and the menopause conferences, and I speak from the stage, and I'm out there looking at a sea of women, and not one of them knows what all the parts are of their own genital structures or how they operate, or that they take 20 to 30 minutes to get to their lady boner and their husbands are hard in 2 minutes and ready to stick it in. Now, you wonder why we started this conversation this morning with so many women in midlife could take it or leave it around their sexuality. And it's literally because we have been penetrated too soon for our whole lives, and we don't even know what good sex is. And by sex, I mean all the things, not just intercourse. So I want to abolish this notion of foreplay and then sex as this kind of like what sex is. That's not what sex is. Sex is kissing, full body touch, foot love. I mean, I can have foot gasms. When my feet are stroked, almost like a man strokes his penis with that loose wristed stroke, I can have foot gasms. I can have core gasms. I can have nipple gasms. I can have neck gasms, throat gasms, kissing gasms. I can have anal gasms, vaginal gasms, clitoral gasms, labial gasms. Why can I have this? Because for over 20 years, I've been activating the brain to body connection. I've been allowing myself to get into my turn on and allowing myself the time to get fully engorged, the blood to fill the tissue chambers, the spongy tissue chambers, so that everything gets plump. So the surface area goes to the brain. And once you start having really good clitoral orgasms, then you can start using a lot of the orgasmic intercourse techniques for intercourse orgasms, or what we might call vaginal orgasms. People call them, the cervical orgasm or the anterior fornix or the G spot or whatever. Those are little locations in your vagina, but your entire vagina can become activated. And when it becomes activated, all of that tissue comes online with your brain, and then you literally don't even need to stimulate the tip of the clitoris while you're being penetrated to have orgasms. It all starts to become, your vagina is surrounded by this tissue, this erectile tissue, when the blood flows in, and it makes a cuff around the vagina that when it is stimulated and played with in the cavern, you have orgasms. It just takes practice. Everyone can do it. So the combination of going back and hearing words of adoration, tell me what you love about me. And often the kinds of things I love my husband to tell me are that I'm beautiful, that I'm smart, that I'm wise, that I'm accomplished, that he loves me. And I want specific details, and I never want to repeat. Every time I ask for it, and it's on demand. I could get off this call and go, babe, can you tell me 3 things about you love about me? And he'll be like, yeah, let's see. Well, I really love that you found this cute town, Freiburg am Breisgau. It's super cute, and I'm looking forward to going out and exploring with you today. And I love how fun you make my life. And he'll just keep going. Yeah. And that practice, we were bad at that in the beginning, and we just got better and better at it. And I find that very helpful for me. And he doesn't ask me for it, but I like to give him many compliments and words of appreciation so he knows how much I revere him. And I think the auditory, the calming, the lack of rushing. Sometimes you want to do what you said, which was sensate focus, which is bring myself back to my pleasure. I do that a lot. That's the sex therapist's number one tool. It's called sensate focus. And I'm not a therapist. I write passionate lovemaking techniques. I teach hot sex. That's what I do. I'm not a problem solver. I am in a way, but I'm not a problem solver. I'm a opportunity creator. And sensate focus helps. And sometimes it's thinking about fantasy. Sometimes it's tell me a dirty story while you're rubbing my yoni, while you're pleasuring my yoni. Tell me some dirty fantasy that you've had. I want to hear a sexy story. Sometimes it's tell me what you love about me. It just depends on where I am in my turn on as to what feels right for me and what I need. And so you're no different than I am. We're no different than anyone who's listening to us right now. We all have the same operating system, but we've been missing the inputs that we need because we've lived in a male-oriented society that serves the penis instead of the yoni. And once you begin to serve the yoni's needs, the penis gets a lot happier too. And so when women opt out of sex in midlife, part of it is mitochondrial dysfunction, aging, chronic disease, lack of sleep, lack of movement, lack of nutrition, other issues, sexual traumas and abuse, poverty, a million things. But some of it's just an entire lifetime of the shittiest sex that is imaginable. And we think that's what we should be wanting. And it's not. When you make that change and you serve the feminine pleasure, the masculine pleasure goes through the roof too, because what does he want most? He would give up his pleasure for your pleasure if he just knew what to do. But he's never seen anything either. Everything on porn is what the penis wants. Everything is these lusty women who just can't wait to get penetrated from every hole and, all this, and they're ready to go and they're very, I get there. Like I am that woman who has that much desire once I get going. And I love that. And what's interesting too is that as I've aged, I've gotten, it's that slipstream into really significant volume of off the hook desire for super hot sex has continued to grow and grow and grow as I've gotten more skill and more comfort with myself and more love of my body and all those things. I jokingly say I'm in my elder slut era.
There's so much I wanted to talk about, pull out of here because it is, we've had these conversations before and it's so easy to talk with you. When you're saying the things that are turning you on, it's interesting because I think it will resonate with some people. Oh, exactly like me too. And what I thought of as you were saying, when you were saying, you need to, or one of the things that turns you on is the praise and the words and auditory. So I immediately thought of this book. I don't know if you've heard of it, called The 5 Love Languages.
Of course.
And it was made originally for marriages and then eventually for children. I discovered it when I was for my kids, but it's very short, not a big book, but it was the 5 things that people need. Some people are dominant in 1 or 2. And so when I think about those love languages, and it did also remind me, you said your husband doesn't need it. He doesn't seem to need it as much as you do, but to give people a clue, sometimes what they do need or not. I remembered from that book that sometimes people give you that speaking that language to you. It's not your language, but that's what they want. So with my husband, it was definitely the touch. And
affection.
Affection is what his language. Mine was the praise as well. Actually, that was definitely for me. And there's some people are gift givers and some people are other things. So I think if you want to understand, I think this book is fabulous too, to understand the men versus women or whatever language that your partner is speaking. But I wanted to also mention I just more ask you, I interviewed Dr. Michael Bader. Do you know him? He's a psychologist.
I don't.
He wrote a book called Arousal. And this is where I learned, I was like, wow, the things that going through their head. I was listening to his book and it was incredible. So he said to have full sexual pleasure, And again, we're kind of generalizing too, like even with you and me, we're really generalizing, just all people in different spectrums. He says to have absolute full pleasure, there needs to be a little bit of ruthlessness, and not in a bad way. And he said it was like letting go, not worrying about the person in front of you, because he says it's fear, guilt, and shame that stop a lot of people from
Yes.
pleasure. So you're worried about is he going to be happy, or what is satisfied, or what, or I'm worried about this, or I have guilt and shame from, there's stuff that happens in people's childhood that just completely messes up their desire and libido and everything. So I was wondering, it made sense to me as kind of like that letting go. And he says, this is why some people have a fantasy of somebody maybe really,
Ravishing them.
yeah, ravishing them, or even just going full on, because they don't have to worry about that guy's feelings. And he said that's just one of the ways the brain kind of goes through. But the sense of,
Yeah, that's the shame. That's how you get through the shame, is that's the same as like rape fantasies and things like that. That's all just, I'm too ashamed to actually desire it, so I have to be forced to have my pleasure.
very interesting. But the ruthlessness, he says, when both people can really let go and just receive and enjoy, that's when some of the best sex happens. But
I'd like to say something about that. Thank you. And I really, really enjoy talking to you. My God, I love your brain. It's so delightful I'm a sapiosexual, so you're turning me on just because you're so dead smart. And I love that about you.
me too. When I learned the word sapiosexual, I was like, oh my God, because my husband's very intelligent. And that just
Mine too.
turns me on. Yeah.
Me
Crazy.
too. I know. I married a genius. He literally looks like crazy Sigmund Freud. He's got this hair. It's going gray and it sticks straight out. And I'm like, shit, I married Sigmund Freud. But it's so fun.
Well, I told my husband I discovered this. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm sapiosexual. And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't need to go to the gym anymore.
No, he will though. He looks so good. He does. He's so handsome. So you got to kick his butt and make him go, because you got to get him to live forever for you.
Yeah, that's why he's going.
So one of the interesting things is that your sexual maturity, what we're really talking about here is the maturation of your sexuality, moving from the prescribed patriarchal perspective that's been very oppressive for women, the lack of education we've had about our own genitals, our own arousal systems, engorgement, pleasure, orgasmic knowledge, and never seeing anything that really appeals to us, maybe reading a little erotica or something. But all of it actually goes back to shame and repression. A lot of the coping mechanisms that we see, a lot of the things we see are coping mechanisms for repression and shame and for lack of knowledge, which is interesting. And even now, when you think about the surrendered pleasure, when you just let go, when you stop worrying about how your ass looks or if your boobs are saggy, when you're just going for it, when you've got sexual appetite, when you've got desire, when you're coming really well, when you can't wait for that date, even if you're not in the mood right now, when your butt hits that bed, it's gonna happen because you just need the time to get there. Instead of this like guilt that you've had your whole life about how your husband's always a horn dog and you don't even really want sex because frankly the sex you've been getting has only been really serving him. He's been masturbating inside you rather than actually making love to you. Yeah. And there's this kind of arc that I've been noticing over the last couple of decades in my own sexual maturation and evolution, which is that I started out just trying to get comfortable enough in my body to receive pleasure, to surrender to pleasure. And oh my God, I was so pretty in my 30s and 40s. I mean, I feel like I'm a beautiful woman now. And I am. I mean, in some ways, I'm even more beautiful than I was in my 30s and 40s because I'm just like the wisdom and the confidence and my self-love have taken over for the more perfect youthfulness of the younger age. But I can remember thinking that my breasts were unattractive in my 30s and my boobs were fantastic, and they still are. I still like my boobs. They hang a lot lower and I don't care. As a matter of fact, I pretty much don't even wear bras most of the time anymore. That's where boobs belong. And they look good down there. Let them be where they want to be. They don't need to be up here. I'm not 18. I'm 64. And is those handfuls are nice.
Okay, wait. Everybody
So
has got to go to YouTube right now and just check you out. 64. Jeez, you just are smashing 64, making it look so good. Can't wait.
that's the orgasms, mama. So I really think it is because I can't get booked on stages. And I'm going to come back to this thing I want to tell you, this arc I want to tell you, but I
Yeah.
can't get booked on stages to talk about orgasmic intercourse, for example, and things like that. I speak at mostly health conferences, biohacking conferences,
Yeah.
longevity conferences. So my entree into teaching women about their genitals, teaching people about genitals and pleasure and orgasm and all those things is often through the lens of health. And my platform is about sexual biohacking and extending your sex span to extend your health span. So the
Mm.
very first thing that I do to kind of my Trojan horse that I get in the door with, right? Get in there, and then they're going to learn about how to have hot sex. Is I'm sneaky like that. It is this idea that every time you have an orgasm, you have this cascade of health benefits. So, there's sleep, nutrition, and exercise, but there's also orgasmic intimacy. That those are the four factors of longevity. People who have sex, and by sex I mean all the things, not just intercourse, orgasmic intimacy their whole life long, they end up living longer. Every decade you go having in orgasmic intimacy, you live 2 years longer and a lot happier, right? You see how
That's
grumpy people are when they get old.
yeah.
So I talk about neurotransmitter cascades and hormone production and oxygenation of the brain tissue for cognitive function when you're signaling that somatosensory cortex, and release of natural killer cells, which are the things that eat your little zombie senescent cells up and your precancerous cells and clean that cell bag up so you got good mitochondrial function, so you have the energy for sex, the flexibility for sex positions, all that. It's like a good yoga workout. I can plank like nobody's business because I like to be on top now. My husband, my poor husband, I'm like, are you sure you're not getting tired of me like just riding you and screaming in your ear? I'm not too loud, am I? And he's like, no, you are not too loud and you can ride me as much as you want, babe. But like the planking is really healthy. So I get in talking about that, but then what I really want to do is teach them that orgasms are all learned skills and that they can have their little sex life bucket list and just start learning and checking them off. Okay, I've had clitoral orgasms. Oh, I've had vaginal orgasms. Oh, I've had a cervical orgasm. Oh, I've had a G-spot. Oh, I've had female ejaculation. Oh, I've had a footgasm. Oh, I've had a throatgasm. Oh, I've had a nipplegasm. Because a lot of women don't think they can have these things. Oh, I'm not the kind of person who can. Girl, you are the person who can. Homo sapiens can. You are a Homo sapien. We are wildly, massively multi-orgasmic. And what's interesting is now I'll go back to my arc, which is I started off just learning how to not dissociate when I was having sex with my husband. I would just be like away from the abuses I've had and the repression I'd gone through. And it's not me, it's all of us, right? Like most of us have been abused in one way or another, whether it was physical or emotional or societal. We live in a sexually abusive culture for women. We live in this, and our men are traumatized by it too. So I had to learn how to stay present. Then I had to learn how to sensate focus, feel the sense and all this. And then I had to learn how to feel comfortable in my body. And then and then I got some confidence, and then I got some skills. And then I was like, okay, I want to try to be on top. And I couldn't make myself orgasm on top. And then I just kept trying it. And pretty soon I had an orgasm. Then I started feeling what I wanted his penis to do inside my vagina. That gave him clues as to what he could do for me that was different than what he learned as well. Then I wanted to run the bedroom game. I got so much confidence. I was like, okay, I'm in charge. We're going to do what I want to do. I liked that. Then I became switchy, which is I could easily go from surrendered to calling the shots. And my husband is very facile. So he was fine with anything. He has latitude. He's got the attitude of latitude, that one. Like he's one chill, mofo, which I love about him because he's grounding for me. He's like, boo. Like he emits the Schaumann resonance in my life. And I love that about him. He's just like so calming for me. And so when I began to be switchy, and then I began to get into what I call a flow state. So the flow state is really, that's the next level, which is just you're giving, you're receiving, you're giving, you're receiving. And then all of a sudden, you're giving and receiving at the same time, like 69, where you're doing mutual simultaneous oral pleasuring side by side, you on top, your partner on top, doesn't matter. All of that, a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't like 69. I don't know, I can't like focus. And I'm like, you're not supposed to focus. And you don't need to be giving the whole time. You need to be taking your pleasure. Let your partner take their pleasure. If he wants to bury his face in your yoni and go blah, 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 because that's what gets him off, let him do it. He's not trying to make you come. You're not trying to make him come. Get out of the try and just be. Get out of the doing and start the being. And when you get into that flow state of sex, it's a simultaneous circuit of pleasure where you don't have to worry about trying to come. There is no trying. And you end up in doing that, hitting a level of orgasmic co-created ecstasy that you never would have imagined as even possible for the Homo sapien to achieve. And so these are the ecstatic bliss states that are kind of this is your map of where you're going. Confidence, body literacy, self-love, love of partner, comfortableness, ease, communication, fantasy sharing, languid orgasmic pleasuring practices, no hurry, no drive to grab a boob and stick it in, going from a yoni massage to going down on your husband, to riding him, to having him go down on you, to having him play with your boobs while you go down on him again, to him putting your legs up in the air while you're on your back and you're using your vibrator on your clitoris and he's penetrating you, to doing doggy style, to having him want to pleasure your clitoris while you're on your knees and you're kissing him and he's playing with your boob, like whatever you want in the very moment that you want it. And no worry about how you look, how you taste, how you act, how you sound, just being together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of where I am right now. And I'm excited to see what's beyond that because I think I told you this last time I was on your show. I joke about how sex, if it was a brand, its tagline would be sex. It would be in lights, of course. There's always something more. Right? Like it's very dramatic. Those are Klieg lights.
Yeah.
This is where I am at 64. I want to come back to on your show at 74, 84, 94, and let's see where we're going with this, right?
It already has evolved. And that was one of my questions. I can't remember, I don't have my notes in front of me because this is so freestyle, but I do remember mentioning, I should ask Susan if there was a thought or a belief that you had about sexual intimacy or whatever it is, and you don't think that way anymore now, whether it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, the whole show's been me busting those myths, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 20 or 30 things I've said in this show about that. One, what the vagina really wants, women's arousal patterns compared to male arousal patterns, the fact that it drives me crazy when people talk about praise kinks. I'm like, praise is not a kink, it's a human need. Adoration and appreciation are just what you would want if you hadn't grown up in a puritanical, stoic, repressed society.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a kink. There's lots of things that are, but that's not one of them. That's just humanity.
Yeah.
Like for it to be relegated to a kink, like you asking for adoration and appreciation to be considered kinky. It's like, no, I got to reel that one in. That's not a kink.
You know what's so funny
Yeah.
is that I always try to wrap my head around this because I lived in Spain for many years, and Spain is a very Catholic country. Like people go to church all the time, and I always tend to think that Americans as well, they're very prudent. I guess that's getting a sauna, then
Prudish.
Sorry, prudish.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel like maybe they're more free in Europe or not, but I can't figure out Spain because the Latino, it's like the men are just so sexual and the women as well, so passionate, but yet such a Catholic country. And I'm
I
sure these
know.
people grew up with the same, I guess, the information that you get sometimes in church that also help in religion that blocks people later on in sexual
Mm-hmm.
life. Do you have any explanations like what in the world is going on there?
I don't understand the Spanish culture, but I sure do like the wines from Jumilla and Rioja. And I like the new president of Spain. He is very progressive. I forget his name, Sebastian something or other.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know who I mean?
Yeah, I know. I don't follow the politics very much, but I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of good work in Spain right now, which is nice. I'm glad to see how progressive Spain has become. It's
Yeah.
really nice to see. Look, the cat's out of the bag on all this stuff. Women have come to realize how much oppression we've been under. And between what we can get by saying on social media and the kinds of conversations we can have on these podcasts, every woman who listens to this show will be touched by our conversation, by the love we have for each other and the appreciation and the turn on we have for each other's minds and the subject matter, by how frank we are and honest we are about the repositioning of how we think about our sexuality as part of our longevity and health, how we move from the patriarchal way of having sex and beyond the matriarchal to the partnership, which is what I described when I described the surrender versus the control, the leadership versus the control. That's not male female either. I don't even like the masculine feminine terminology anymore. What I want is for people to know that they have this linear progression to this flow state of co-created ecstasy.
Mhm.
That's where I want to set the bar right now. And I will keep setting that bar as I go. When I figure out what's beyond that, I'll be back to tell you what it is. You
Mhm.
guys work on that till I get back.
Well, one of the things I was trying to learn, if there is, maybe there isn't anything. For example, I used to, in the longevity space, when I first heard about fasting and trading in a fasted state, I was like,
Yeah.
this is it. I was telling everybody to do this until I found out actually, when you're a female with your hormones and
Hmm.
menopause, and I could see it in front of my eyes, it is not going well. So
Yeah.
now I've retracted and said, actually, I was wrong. Is there anything there that you were talking about that you thought, oh, it's supposed to be really great, but now I'm retracting and I don't really say that narrative anymore?
Yeah. Let me think about that. The things I still say that I wouldn't say, what would I not say anymore?
Because there's things that we learn where beliefs and the science sounds correct, but sometimes in practice it doesn't work. But that's okay. Maybe there
Yeah.
isn't.
Oh, no, I have one. I have one. It's a good one because it goes to something I already said. I got an email from a guy. By the way, I just want to tell your listeners that if you have a question for me about anything that I talked about, or you have a question about something I didn't mention, but you're like, oh, she might really answer this. If you go to betterlover.com, that's my website where you can sign up for my newsletter. I send out 2 emails a week with this kind of information: passionate lovemaking, bedroom communication skills, and intimate health. And if you get an email from me, you can reply to any email and it goes to me personally, not to my care team. So you can ask me anything and I will privately answer you. So I get a lot of emails, or I mean, over the last over 2 decades, emails every day, like thousands and thousands and thousands. And it's interesting to see how they change over time. And I recently got an email from a guy who said, you've talked a lot about cervical orgasms and you've talked about G spot orgasms over the years, because people get on my list and then they just stay on. They watch my evolution, which I really appreciate. I've had people on my email newsletter for decades. I
Yeah.
have people who have passed and their children have let me know that their parent has passed. It's so heartwarming. And got an email from a guy, and he was like, how come you never talk about the anterior fornix as a place that is a spot for pleasuring? And I wrote back to him and I was like, that's so interesting. Thank you for noticing that. I probably have talked about the anterior fornix location somewhere along the line, but what I realized was that I have activated my entire vaginal cavern, and I don't like to call it a canal because a canal sounds like an inside out, it sounds like a tube.
Yeah.
And then you visualize an inside out penis.
Uh-huh.
And then you're stuck in the sheath, the sword in the sheath,
Yeah.
which is what a vagina is named after, is the sheath of a sword.
Wow.
That's the root word for it. And it's not an inside out penis, and it doesn't want the same things that a penis wants. This isn't what it wants. Penises, they like the stroke and the head, the stroke and the head. That's what they want. But vaginas, as I had mentioned earlier, it's a cavern. It's got a little round sphincter muscle. That's the vaginal opening. It's called the introital sphincter. It's got a little crook of a neck. And then it balloons as you get aroused. It's like if I blew up a balloon, like one of those balloons you make a water balloon out of, kind of round ones. It balloons up like this. And that all that tissue in that whole cavern wants to be activated, and not just the lining of the vaginal cavern, the mucosal lining, but your guts inside there. That's like when a woman says he rearranged my guts, it's like he activated all that tissue. And when you activate and stimulate it, it's on the sides is where the pudendal nerves are. That's why your toes curl during an orgasm. The back, which you could call that interior fornix, back behind where the cervix kind of drops down like a little bubble, back behind there, the deep spot of the cavern. Oh, that loves to be activated. The bottom of the vaginal cavern, that's where the perineal sponge is. Your third erectile tissue chamber is between the bottom of the vagina and the top of the rectum. The G spot's not a spot, it's a tube of tissue that comes down toward the front of the vagina and then goes up toward your bladder and up past the uterus. And that is a whole sponge that wants to be activated. And so one of the things that I've been doing, in addition to really learning how to ride on top of my husband, woman on top, cowgirl or reverse cowgirl, and allowing myself to kind of use his penis to activate all that tissue, I also have a tool that I have been using that I love. It is a vibrating wand that has extra vibrating pads for the G area on the top of the vaginal cavern. And it's not penis shaped, it's more of a wand shape. And it goes all the way back in. And I use it to stimulate all that tissue in my vagina. And if on YouTube, you can see how I'm moving my hand, which will be helpful if this appeals to you as you're listening to us. I'm basically using that to activate the tissue behind the lining of my vagina and bring it all online and get all that sensory connection going and stimulating it and activating it. And now my grip strength, my pelvic musculature is even stronger. I can grip that thing as it's vibrating. And it has really brought my entire vaginal orgasmic intensity to way new levels. So in your 14-day, what did you call it?
Sex
Your challenges?
Sex and intimacy challenge.
For your 14-day sex challenge, my recommendation would be to use that tool. The tool is called the Pearl 3, and it's at drivedesire.com. And I use it in conjunction often with the Pro Wand that's also listed on that page. These are like Oprah has favorite things. Well, so does Susan Bratton, and they're way better. At Drive Desire, go ahead.
Are you using so this sounds like a device that to get into this area to stimulate that? Is it because a penis or a hand or finger cannot get that deep? Like why
it doesn't have that penetration of vibration. There's vibration and oscillation, and that reverberates into the tissue and stimulates the blood flow and activates the neural pathways to the brain.
Mm.
So you can't do it with a penis or a finger. You need the tech.
Mm.
So I like sex tech. I like quantified intimacy. I like sex tech. I am a world's leading expert on sexual technology.
Yeah.
There are a few of us out there, and I am one of those people because I use the tools to activate the pleasure. And I like to a lot of times, one of the things I've been doing recently is I've been putting the wand up inside me. I'm sorry, yeah, the Pearl 3, the wand. I've been putting the wand inside me, the vibrating one. Mm-hmm. And then I just put a pillow there to hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I orally pleasure my partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting stimulation in the vaginal area while I'm getting stimulation in my throat.
Mm-hmm.
And that activates this entire channel, the shushumna, the lumen, the golden flute, the bamboo flute. There's a million names for the chakra system, whatever you want to call it. We have our whole body. This is something I learned from Sherry Winston. All of our sphincter systems are a locked system. When you get turned on, your eyes open, your vagina opens, your butt opens. It all opens and closes together. And so when you stimulate the bottom while you're stimulating the top, you're on your path to full body orgasms. And those are incredible. The contractions that you get from those are incredibly intense and wonderful. So these are some ways to think about your sex challenges.
Yeah.
Solo pleasure and use it during partnered sex. I just gave you 2 things you can do during a 14-day sex challenge with a single tool that will really improve your vaginal and intercourse orgasms.
I've got some good praise back from you talked about when our first interview, I think it was the Joy Lux. It's like people have been coming back to me with good reviews with that one. So yeah, thank you for all those tips. I'm gonna have to let you go. I could talk to you forever.
I know. Me
This
too.
is
I could
so
talk to
much
you forever
fun.
too.
I still have questions about sex band. I want to talk about oxytocin. I want to talk about
oh God, oxytocin. I know. That's so interesting. I'll come back. I want to talk about that because that is a game changer, man. That oxytocin. I did not understand how low I was in oxytocin, and I think we all are because we've all taken antibiotics. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's save that one for the next time we get together. I've got some great oxytocin generation strategies, and when you start pumping oxytocin, your whole life changes. I think there are a lot of people who might be mildly depressed because they simply don't have enough oxytocin production. Mm-hmm. And we're medicating people over things that are like just gut dysbiosis issues. Yeah. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about that.
Oh, let's talk about it for part 2. And I thought about it because when you were telling me how when you receive praise from your partner, and it's an oxytocin booster. And I did this the first time I did this, the challenge was look in your partner's eyes and say for 10, I think it was 10 minutes, just continue what you like about me. And again, like you said, go deeper and why, and not just, oh, you're pretty. And it's true. It started out awkward like that. My husband was like, I don't know what to say. Literally, you're going to do this for 10 minutes. And yes, we're going to do it. And we did it. And with practice, it does come. But I checked my HRV the next day on my Oura ring and it was woof. It went so high because of this. I don't know, let's save this for the next time because I do have to let you go. And before I do, is there I know I'll have links to everything we talked about in the show notes and the websites and the guides and the tech, all this stuff. And I do have links how to find you on Instagram and Facebook and all your social media. You're all over the place.
I have a big team.
You do. You have a great team.
I don't do it all myself.
Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with or tell us before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want you to thank your husband for being so game to try all of the things that you come up with. Please thank him for me and tell him I love that about him. And I want to thank you, your listeners of your show who are so intrepid and intelligent and so lucky to have found you.
Yeah.
And also your hair looks so pretty today.
Thank you.
This cut is adorable on you. And also how it's kind of like dark and light with that top. You look
Oh,
really good today.
thank you. Oh, I love this. You know that feeds my oxytocin. You know it. I know what you're doing, Susan.
It comes so easy. It's so easy to praise you because you're so amazing.
Oh, likewise, Susan, which is why I have you on again, and we'll have again and again and again. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for everyone who's been listening to the end. I bet you are getting some oxytocin just listening to this. I value your time. Honestly, it's just so beautiful that you're here with us to the very end. And wherever you are, have a good day, good night, good morning, and we will see you next time. And thank you, Susan.